my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. And as you know, every week I interview different experts. And today I'm super excited to be interviewing Danielle. Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for joining.
Hi, Jasmine. It is wonderful to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
With pleasure. Thank you for asking. Yes, my name is Danielle Mohonathan. I am a South African, born and bred. I created my business called Lumiere, your happiness consultant and life coach, in 2024. I decided on that title, as it were, as people ask questions. What do you mean, happiness consultant and life coach? My business came about as part of the purpose that found me in terms of a healing journey. A healing journey that was rooted in my life's experience. I'll be 39 this year. I'd undergone, since the age of 5, child psychologists while I was in my teenage years at university, then started to see from psychologist to psychiatrist, mental health diagnoses, medications that I was put onto, until I came into contact with healers of a different kind, spiritual healers, hypnotherapists, shamans, people that look into the soul, that world of
Amazing.
and so fast track 2024 saw me create a business that was rooted in energy healing, in purpose coaching, in breath work and movement workshops, from medication to meditation, as well as I have an online short course. It's 7 modules called The Present You Desire, teaching people how to come back to every present moment. So it's all about what I call SPICE: spiritual, physical, intellectual, social, and emotional healing and well-being.
Oh, wow. Sounds absolutely amazing and powerful. So, no, looking forward to talking about this today. And so, for today, you chose From Medication to Meditation. I love that title. Can you tell us what made you choose it today and what does it mean?
With absolute pleasure. Great question. Where I got the name From Medication to Meditation for my movement, breath work, body awareness, visualization workshops is from my dad. My dad is an Iyengar yoga teacher for, I think it's close to 30 years. And when I had created and curated these workshops, it came out of his mouth. And I said, "Can you say that again, please?" That's really catchy. And that's actually pretty much the root of why I have created these. So that's how the name came about. And deeper to that is there is the understanding from spirituality and healing in the realm that I deal in, or with, of all the medication we need can be found and unlocked from within ourselves. We just need to be guided and shown and explore and get a bit creative and, I suppose, childlike as to how. So that's why, From Medication to Meditation.
Wow, super, super interesting. Yeah, I've got so many questions, and we've had lots of questions as well. So before, well, as we start, so where would we start with this topic then? So what would you like? How would you like to start? What's the most important thing would you say about this topic?
I suppose there are many ways we could tackle which is the most important part, but for purposes of From Medication to Meditation, it's self. It starts with self. We are a whole world and layered and complex and experiential human beings. We enter this world where the first thing that we do is we take a breath. The last thing we do when we leave this planet is we release that breath. And our experiences, whether it's nature, nurture, life, as it were, shape us and create these layers. I'm going to use the Shrek analogy of an onion. And each of these layers add I suppose, a depth, a lens, a way in which we show up our mirrors to the world, not just around us, but how we are experiencing and feeling it internally. So when I'm triggered, for example, if I feel some type of way by something that somebody says, that is a perspective and a lens for me to further understand and unpack. Not necessarily what the other person might have intended, because I can't assume, or I can't necessarily, judge another human being, because I don't know what they've gone through. I don't know their layers. I don't know. I can better understand myself. So the journey of self is a privileged one. It means your Maslow's hierarchy is intact. You've got the basics, the basic human rights to be able to take a step back and focus on self. And when we delayer and we peel away, we do have the ability to get to the core and the root of who we are authentically, genuinely. At the root of it all, there is love. At the root of it all is compassion. At the root of it all is kindness. There's depth to every single one of us, but it takes the privileged opportunity and the guidance and the experience and the want, the choice to say, I would like to, and I'm ready to look deeper within for who I actually am at my core. Because the more you delayer and the closer you get to that core, it is loving, it is human, it is compassionate, it is patient, it is understanding, it is kind, it is reflective. It is every bit of a mirror that you are willing and wanting to be at the true core. So it creates for a vibration, a frequency, an energetic frequency, of which everything in this world is made up of: energy, atoms, molecules, right? Which is in constant flow. You allow for the flow and the state of your being to vibrate, experience at a certain level based on where you're at. So when people use the saying, meet people where they're at, it takes somebody to be able to step back and go, right, let me use that point of discernment to go, one, I myself am not perfect. How do I experience my fellow human being, and what is the intention I'm coming in with? The intention will be rooted in how far to your core have you gotten. So when I experienced the world around me, and it's been a journey to get here. I didn't wake up like this. It's been a journey, right?
Yes.
A lot of support and help. I'm so grateful. Is that when I show up in the world and I feel a certain way, it could be a loving, an irritability, an angry, a sadness. I take that back and I interrogate it for myself as to why. I love to ask the questions of why within myself. Because when I do, it means I can unpack that further. I can dig deeper and I can give it love. I can give it a different lens of understanding and compassion, and the way I speak to it and frame it can be a positive one, can be a kinder one, can be a more reflective, open, I suppose, fluid, energetic frequency with which to absorb it, internalize it, process it, and release it. Now I'm at a different operating state or frequency and vibration, and so on and so forth.
Wow, it sounds very, very interesting. Fascinating. We've just got a question here, actually, on YouTube from Tamara. Hi, Tamara. How are you doing? Okay. She says, okay, can you share a story where both medicine and mindfulness helped someone?
Absolutely. Myself.
Oh, yes. Tell us.
I had the privilege of once upon a time being diagnosed bipolar.
Oh, really?
Really. And I was then put on several kinds of medication. And what that did for me is it numbed everything.
Yeah.
Almost like just coasting. I was watching a world around me, but feeling nothing. So that had been reduced significantly. And why I feel at that point in time, because I do I know for myself that every experience that I've had is for a reason and connects the dots. It had to happen that way.
Oh, really?
I firmly know this for myself. That experience of being numbed by the medication and that point and juncture in my life supported me to absorb and listen in a different way the meditative part of myself that had become receptive, because now the noise was decreased, the feelings.
Yeah.
I had a different operating system and model for that period to be able to absorb meditation in a different way. Now, I love this question. Thank you very much, Tamara, because I've been meditating for a very, very, very long time.
Have you really? Yeah.
For many, many years. I have a YouTube playlist that has hundreds and hundreds of videos. And I would struggle with it. But the medication, as I'm sharing, supported me to have mitigated noise within, to be able to almost focus better on meditation. And as the meditation journey got deeper and started to take effect in that way, and the medication fell away, it was almost like a working hand in hand to shift, if that makes sense. One in, one out. So I never say throw the medication out. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to tell anybody that. What I'm here to share is that everything has a purpose and it can coexist and work hand in hand. I'm not sure if that helps to answer this question, which is such a question.
Yeah, just put a thumb up. Thanks, Tamara. Thank you for the question. And hi, Christy from Louisiana. Thank you for joining us. And Charles says, absorb, interpret, utilize. Brilliant, Danielle. What an insightful conversation. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, it's so fascinating when it was all this self-awareness, isn't it? It sounds like you have a lot of self-awareness.
Yes, I do, because I chose to. I became tired of the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
That is true. And I became tired of using the same format to elicit a different response within myself, different feelings, different ways. So I became curious with myself and why? Why am I feeling this way? Why is this happening? Not even for me, but to me. There was that stage of the pity party. And I'm grateful for that too, because again, it frustrated me to a point of going, what do I need to do differently to elicit a different response? And so the layers started to come off. I threw myself into, like I've shared, I've got from the age of 5 all the way into my late to early 30s, the experience of traditional Western medication, therapies, etc., to then go and try and be open to trying something new, because what did I have to lose at that stage? And as the layers peeled away, and it's still going to happen till the day that I die, I believe, is that it brought me closer and closer and closer, because the curiosity factor remained high. That was number one. The other part of this is I still will never say I know it all. I don't like to be the smartest person in the room, because then it means I'm preventing myself from learning something, or being open, having that mindset to be open to your surroundings and the people around you, who could be anybody and anything that could teach you something if your mind is primed to have that abundance. So the awareness then went even deeper. Yes, it started in the mind and the soul, but then also from a physical aspect. I'm an athlete, I'm a dancer.
Oh, are you?
Yes, I'm a pole dancer. For the last 6 years, I compete. I've done national competition.
Really? Oh, wow.
I've performed. I am currently completing my teacher training, for example. And what that has taught me is body awareness. So that journey, and I've always been, I suppose, athletic or fit. I've been in rowing teams when I was in high school. I did ballet for 7 years of my life as a child. I would play netball. I've always been active. I've gone to gym, etc., even with the lifestyle that I had. Point being that it got to a stage when the mind and the soul had started to take on a different journey and stage. My body became my reader. Why do I have neck and shoulder pain? When I am stressed, why does my face get tingly? But that then told me, when I get stressed, my face is telling me something. My shoulders and my neck are, I need to take a breath and I need to take a pause. Your body is always telling you something, which meant Now, the mental, the spiritual, the physical became a connected entity on a deeper level. I started to pay closer attention, which also is impacted by sleep, pause, how and where you breathe, where is the energy in the breath actually going versus shallow, rapid breathing, which increases heart rate, which isn't going into your cells and your brain how it could and should be, which also extends into what is it that I'm putting into my body. I'll share another thing for free here, Jasmine, is I was an alcoholic. I would take substances. I was
Really?
suicidal. I had anxiety. I had depression. I had all kinds of things. I would eat poorly. These are all, I suppose, indicators of coping, but also not
Yes.
really living true to the testament of I actually do love myself. If I love and I care about myself, I'm going to do something different to elicit a different response to show it love. So my diet changed, not because this was, I suppose, at the time intentional or mindful, because I started to become aware of, with the body awareness, when I put something into my being, what is it doing to my skin? What is
Yeah.
it doing to my energy levels? What is it doing to my mental capacity, or the way that I can be productive in a beneficial way? What is it telling me about what is happening here? So the whole cog in the system started to change. I mean, I stopped drinking in 2019. My diet changed drastically over the course of last year. I drink at least
Wow.
2 liters of water every day. I don't consume anything with refined processed sugar. I'd rather
Yeah.
opt for, fruit or natural sugars, dates, or things that are more natural.
Mm.
And so I've come to realize, because I am of Muslim faith, that the process of fasting actually resets your system. Where I went, was food a coping mechanism for me? Was it something I became reliant on because my emotions needed as an outlet or a sense of safety and comfort? That's another level of awareness of self. It's a journey. I am getting there. I am
Oh, I love it.
almost, it's a work in progress that I'm willing to play with and continue
Yeah.
about.
No, it's so interesting there, everything you're saying. And I think, well, yeah, like you said, doing something different. It's about doing something different, isn't it? And trying new things. We've got a comment here. Having worked in cancer research and developed an approved chemotherapy treatment for colorectal cancer, I can vouch for the need for medication. However, the placebo effect is a well-known phenomenon that can't be ignored. Mind over matter. There are also natural remedies for most ailments.
I love this comment. I love this comment. What is the who is this
I
person?
don't actually know who the name is. I can't see the name,
Oh,
unfortunately.
I love this. So there
Yes.
is a concept about Western and Eastern medicine, or the worlds working together. There's a place for that. But 100%, if we go back to, let's call it back in the day, where we were eating food that was grown, that we took the
Yeah.
time to go and buy at the markets, that fresh produce was a regular part of your diet. Preparing food together as a family. Life has changed, yes, 100%. But the point of what I'm trying to share is there are so many natural remedies and medicines that come from things like turmeric, ginger, black pepper aids in the absorption of turmeric.
Wow.
Things like cloves for toothache, things like garlic for vitamin C, things like honey as an anti-inflammatory, things like, and so on and so forth. The research in what we do or decide to take the time and make the time for natural resources that are the equivalent of medications that don't have the side effects, that
Yeah.
have, a knock-on effect. Okay, I've taken this medication, and again, I'm not discounting medication, and it has a purpose. I'm not a doctor, a medical doctor, right? But you take a medication, it has a side effect, and then you're taking something else for that, and then you're taking something else for that, and then so on and so forth. And I'll give you an example of what I mean.
Before you give the, let me just, that's Tim. It's Dr. Tim Hughes comment. I don't know why his name's not coming up, but he's a very good friend of mine, and he's amazing. So yeah, that's Dr. Tim. But yeah, carry on.
thank you, Dr. Tim, for that. I absolutely love, especially when the doctors come in and they, you know, it's this understanding. And I did the exercise of going and having a full medical done, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood type, all sorts. And when the results came back, I found out my blood type is O positive. So my natural way of being is, if my blood type is O positive, what is the diet that I'm meant to be eating? And when I consume in that way, what is my body telling me? Right? That's part. The other part is the doctor that sat with me to unpack the results said, you've got high cholesterol. And I said, because I had done my research and I'm very curious, I said, which cholesterol, my good cholesterol or my bad cholesterol? And when he gave me the number, and I said, but then my cholesterol is high, but it's the good high, not the. And he said, you're right, because I was going to prescribe cholesterol medication. And I said, all right, but that is interesting. And understanding that you're dealing with somebody who's asking the right kind of questions, would that be something that you'd prescribe to somebody had they not had this kind of knowledge? And in which case, the root of what is your blood type? Is it good cholesterol, bad cholesterol? How should you be eating? Let's look at the holistic picture of what is your lifestyle like? What is your mental state like? What do you do for a living? How much physical activity, not exercise, physical activity do you adopt? What is your diet like? Where are these questions to look at the whole human being and psyche and soul, versus just prescribing a band-aid that then has compounding effects, right? I suppose the other thing that's also beautiful to understand is that, like I shared, get curious about how you treat yourself, the thoughts, the self-talk, the breath and how you do it, your lifestyle, not necessarily exercise, your diet, your soul set. How are you nurturing and taking pause and reflection and taking stock of the being and the world that exists and that you are? So I love that. Thank you to the doctor.
Yeah, thank you, Danielle. It's very interesting. And Christy says, this is just what I needed to hear. Currently experiencing this now. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you so much for your comment and your support. And anybody who has any questions, please let us know. We love hearing from you. It's so interesting hearing from everybody in all different parts of the world. But no, it's so interesting, Danielle. So I guess a lot of the things that you've said is diet. You mentioned diet a lot.
I did. What I wish we were taught, or we are taught, is how to read labels, nutritional labels on any product. It became a point in my life, and now it kind of seems obsessive, but it's curiosity again, where I went, what is
sorry,
what is, bless you, what does this mean? What is that product? Why is this in there? And when you research and you go, but why is this in there? I suppose diet is something so close to me. As I shared, the business that I've created is heavily rooted in my purpose to support people to heal on multiple levels. Because as a child at the age of 5, and when, bless my parents, to take me to a child psychologist, and the psychologist at that time had said, it's her diet. My diet was filled with preservatives and colorants and additives and sugar. And, if you look at most of the products on the shelves, that's a large portion of what you see. Or if it's not called corn syrup, there's a substituted name for it, right? Get curious about what food. And the more and more I started to do that, I understood that these are not things I really want to put into my body, because it's often been said that eating healthy or consciously is expensive. I'm not sure how much cucumber, costs across the board in the world. I'm not sure how much, carrots and garlic and ginger and turmeric and, organic grass-fed beef or meat or chicken or whatever it might be. I'm not really sure what that is across the globe. But I can tell you now that whilst there might be in the short term a costly impact from changing your diet to one that is more conscious, cleaner, more aware, it mitigates the medical bills, the doctor's fees, the medication, and
definitely.
So what weighs up the cost factor? Which are you wanting to? And I think a beautiful thing about, I mean, yes, diet, I'm going to move into the movement part of this as a bit of a segue, is that my instructor has shared with all of us when we first started class, and she says, if we are going to live to the ages of 80, 90, 100, whatever it might be, I want to be able to tie my own shoelaces. It's about the long term. I'm thinking long term. I don't know how long I'm going to be here, but I'd like to ensure as far as possible that I am comfortable in my own skin to the nth degree. And diet is a large factor. Any statistic will tell you it's about a 70 to 80% mathematical equation for what supports the entire system. When they talk about the gut being your second brain, you know, it's not a lie. That becomes your, that becomes the point at which you feel, which you operate, which the nutrients that is being absorbed from the time you chew, it starts going into that esophagus, how long it will take to move into that, how it absorbs, and what is the nutritional value that is released into your bloodstream to feed your muscles, your mind, your organs, your blood, your cholesterol, your this entire ecosystem that is working without us having to think about it. How are you nurturing and nourishing that? Food is a huge, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, you've got me thinking again. No, it's so, thank you so much, Danielle, for sharing all of this. We are out of time, and I know we could talk about this for, I could talk about this for such a long time with you, but is there anything else you'd like to say before we go? And also, how can people find you?
Wonderful. Firstly, thank you for this opportunity. The time has really gone short, and I'm appreciative for the space and all the questions that have come in. These have been fantastic. Thank you. In terms of what I'd like to leave everybody with is start with where you are. Take the pressure off. Start small. It's a journey. Take the pressure off. It doesn't happen overnight because you don't want to compound the already stressful existences that we have, right? How you can find me? You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, email, website. My Instagram is Heal with Denielle. That's HealWithdenielle. That's Heal with Denielle, one word. You can find me on LinkedIn, Danielle Mohonathan. You can find me on Facebook. My page is Lumiere, the name of my business. And you can find me on email. It's denielle@lumiere.life. That's DENIELLE at LUMIER.LIFE.
Can you put all of those links on the original post so people can just, yeah, because they remember. But no, thank you so much, Danielle. It's been absolutely amazing talking to you. I've really learned a lot, and yeah, super, super interesting and important. But I love the work that you do, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next week.